So I've been told to say this date at the start of all my interviews because of all the channels that are copying all our stuff and spreading it everywhere. So it's the 12th of November today. And I am really, really happy to be speaking to the amazing Chantelle from Aquarius Rising Africa. And Chantelle, I have been wanting to speak to you for so long because I've been watching your videos for ages. And then luckily our mutual friend Bryce introduced us and we had a lovely round table. I think it was last week. The days will merge into one. So I'm so happy to have you on this channel. How are you doing today?
Wow, Catherine, I'm really doing so well. And thank you so much for inviting me. It's such a privilege and such an honor. And likewise, I've been watching your stuff for a long time as well. And, you know, it's amazing how things work, because it was in my mind as well to get you and Bryce on as a roundtable for us on Aquarius Rising Africa, which I definitely will do sometime in the not too distant future, because I really enjoyed our roundtable the other day as well. So thank you so much for hosting that. Really good.
Oh, it's just been so wonderful connecting with these people. I mean, I was sort of reflecting back this week. I've had quite a reflective week about, and I just can't believe my luck really about, I'm just so loving connecting with these brilliant people across the globe and just having these conversations. And what I loved about when we spoke with Bryce and Shanti and sorry, your Shanti and Stephanie and Cindy, it's just so wonderful, because all these different things, all these different conversations come out. We don't really plan what we're going to talk about. And this to me has been one of the beautiful stages of discovery over this last year. But before we nip into the nitty gritty, can you tell my listeners, I know a lot of my listeners have been watching your channel anyway, but there's always some that haven't. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into starting your channel and the amazing range of guests that you've been covering?
Yeah, you know, it's been such a beautiful journey this last just over a year. I still sometimes have to kind of pinch myself and remind myself that we're here, and this is really the time that I was born for. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But just to go a little bit back, you know, I'm a farm girl born in the, call it the ass end of South Africa, if you will. I'm a farmer's daughter, one of 6 in the family. And our, you know, through my mom's generation, so it's my grandmother, and I know definitely further up from my grandmother's bloodline as well, myself and my mom inherited this, the old wives that would call it Medihalmgebore in Afrikaans. It means when a child is born, a piece of the placenta gets stuck on the head or stays on the head. And that pretty much, according to our old wives, are the children with spiritual gifts. So we have that lineage in our family. And I was blessed enough to be one of those that have received it, I guess, with openness, which was amazing, because from a very young age, I was able to perceive things, see things. I mean, I literally could remember being in my mom's womb. I had memory of that, and just thinking, I've got to get out of here, I've got things to do. I'm a double Aquarian, so, you know, they say the Aquarians are born little adults. I can totally vouch for that in my situation. I have very strong memories, albeit not consistent, but sporadic memories from being very, very young. So I was also able to hear the voices of the animals, which was very frustrating for me, because my grandmother, although she was very, very psychic, you know, we could both see spirits, and I could understand from her what it was about and how to work with it, and literally how to embrace my gift as well. My mom as well. So it was never frowned upon. Even my dad, although he wasn't that way inclined, he never complained at all. You know, it was just the way things were in our family. So it was really a frustrating experience for me as a child, because when I went to boarding school at the age of 5, we lived on the farm, so it was what we did. I was immediately targeted because I was the only English kid in my community. The rest were Afrikaans kids, so they kind of you know, have little gangs and clans in the hostel, that is. So I realized very quickly you don't talk about things that someone else can't see, because I was then classified as the devil's child, which drove me insane as a kid, because especially now, you know, and I was also born in a very conservative Christian Afrikaans environment, although we weren't. So we were this English family that kind of stood out. But I just remember feeling frustrated so much of the time because I was misunderstood. I tantrumed a lot as a kid. I did not like my siblings. I was always fighting with them. I wanted my parents all to myself, which was quite funny, because when you want them sick, that ain't gonna happen. But you know, all in all, a very happy childhood, very wholesome. Grew up on the farm, grew our own veggies, our own orchards, you know, everything. So very wholesome, very sort of conservative values, but a very open-minded family, you know. So, and then, yeah, I just started getting more and more into my gift again, because I blocked it off for a certain stage in my teenage years, when I realized that this was giving me more trouble than what it was worth. And then I just rebelled, you know. I kind of became a bit of a rebel until my early 20s. And then I started moving back into these realms. I was then studying astrology. I was studying all sorts of things. My grandmother always read the tarot cards, so I grew up with the tarot cards, although I don't remember ever reading them for anyone else, but I just knew she did them. But she would never do them for us kids, you know. But I was completely fascinated. But you know, all through this and all through this bone of contention that we're experiencing now with, you know, people with these kind of gifts, do the kind of work that we do, we deemed as witches,
yeah,
or witch doctors. I can't help but laugh, because I'm the furthest thing away from that. You know, I always knew beyond a shadow of doubt in my mind that I belonged to God. There was never a question.
Yeah, I've got my broomstick, and then lying fast asleep here. Can you see my cat Idris there, just on the thing? I've got lots of black cats, so yeah, I wear that label with pride.
Yeah,
I'm definitely a good witch. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah,
totally.
but it's an
So, you know.
Yeah. Carry on.
Sorry, carry on.
Well, I was just going to say I had very.
No, I was just saying.
Discussion with Bryce yesterday, which we'll come on to, because people throw these things at you as an insult, thinking it will crush you and shut you down. And what they don't realize is we take that as a compliment, which is even funnier.
But you know, when I get called a witch doctor from Africa, you know, I mean, there's a very, you know, the witch doctors are something quite, I mean, that is these guys, I mean, I wish you could see. And of course, you get the light ones and the dark ones. There's always the two polarities, but it is powerful. But the grueling training these guys have got to go through, you don't understand. I mean, one of the things, they've got to like dig a hole in the wild. Okay, they go through months and months and years of training, and they literally just sit with their head out of the hole for like days, 3 or 4 days. And they've then got to combat, and they can't physically, but purely with their energy, because any wild animal, anything, any element, they've got to sit through that. And you know, an animal always, you would know, working with animals, always responds to fear. So they've got to absolutely get all fear out, you know. So I mean, I think that's amazing training, you know, to still the mind and stuff. But you know, I've never done it.
No,
I pray, I go straight to God.
Yeah, I wouldn't have the skills to do that. And that takes a huge amount of mind control. And anyone that can do that is seriously talented in that area. That's for sure. Wow. So how did you start
Absolutely.
your channel, Chantelle? How did you get drawn to start interviewing people and discussing all these amazing things? Because you've got a wonderful range of people that you have on your channel.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for that, you know. Well, it was really after I listened to Jesse Zabotar's first interview with David Zublik. And I've told the story before, but I found it quite funny just for myself, because even though I've always considered myself to be pretty red-pilled and knowing a lot about what's going on, and, you know, especially being a healer and traveling around for, what, 17, 18, 19 years already. So kind of very open-minded and understanding that there's a lot that goes on. But wow, that particular interview, you know, when the first thing, when I thought, okay, what's the worst thing these guys do? You know, it's a bit of juju in the graveyard, and God forbid they should do anything to a cat, you know?
Yeah.
Wow. And then I was really just, I heard her story, the first that, you know, when her proctor, the first thing that maybe it was in the first 10 minutes of the interview, where her proctor took her and she had to watch her behead the previous Queen Mother of Darkness and then cannibalize her. And I just sat up. I just could not believe. And for the rest of the night, I listened to this at night before I went to bed, by the way. And for the rest of the night, I just sat listening to the next, there were 3 interviews in total. That really changed everything for me, because I knew that whatever she was saying was absolutely true. I knew beyond a shadow. And it was then that I started, and in fact, I was watching Janine as well. And Janine did a reading on Jesse and David Zublik. And then that's how I actually got onto them. And Janine was actually reading on Aquarius Rising Africa for a while as well. So that's when I started interviewing Jesse. And it just opened up into other things. I contacted Jesse. I just knew I had to talk to this woman. And it just happened that she was very open to it, which I was and still am extremely grateful for, because wow, what this lady has revealed over the past year is quite phenomenal. And she's just such a beautiful person. Absolutely. We've become good friends, you know. And she to me is the essence of what a Christian is. She has her values, she has her morals, she has her standards. She's not going to digress from them. She knows we have different ways of doing things. She doesn't stand in judgment of us for that. She sees beyond that and into our hearts, you know. And that's why we have this amazing channel, I think, with her. Because to me, she's such an example of what people of any denomination should be, you know, and especially when we look at what she's gone through. My gosh, I mean, a very strong soul, that's all.
It's quite incredible. I mean, I think when I started watching your interviews with her again, it just puts everything into perspective. As you say, we think we know some of these things are going on, and then when you realize you've got no idea about the scale of what's really going on and what some people are really really surviving and going through. And she's such an inspiration, as you say, in so many different ways. Yeah. But I think this is where a lot of people deviate from listening to the channels, because they everyone's got their boundary where they're prepared to go to in terms of what they're prepared to open their minds to and accept might or might not be going on. And it's really actually surprised me, because I haven't found my boundary yet, and that there will be one. There's personal boundaries in terms of, you know, ways I would live my life and things I would talk about and engage in. But in terms of listening to other people's stuff, I'm sort of a bit like a sponge at the moment and thinking, I know you say on your channel, I've heard you say it before, and I really love it, is that you have to be aware of these things if you're going to change things and move forward. And I just think that's such an important thing that you always bring out.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly think, you know, it's an acknowledgement, you know, if we think of anything in life, Catherine, I mean, it's like we can't heal our personal emotions or our personal physical health unless we acknowledge what we're doing wrong. Because any illness or ailment or dissatisfaction that's occurring in the body, if you will, is really a blockage that the energy has stopped moving. So your body is telling you something. I always say pain is not there to crush you. It is there to take you to a deeper space of awareness. So instead of fighting the pain and numbing it with painkillers and doctors and hospitals and running around, it's your own body trying to tell you where you need to look, because the source of the pain is not where you are currently looking, if that makes sense. So when we acknowledge that, that's when healing can occur. And it's exactly the same thing on our planet. When we acknowledge that there is so much trauma going on, not just with our children, but with our animals too. And I know that you are so passionate about animals too, which is wonderful. I love that, you know, and I always say, you know, when we are just ignoring the pain of others and only focusing on our needs, and yes, it's so important to focus on our needs, but not in a selfish way. Yeah. It's got to come from a spiritual, humbling way that truly strengthens you and enables you to be the strength for yourself as well as those around you. So now you've got this infinite well of energy flowing through you. You're not being sucked dry by people and then exhausted and got to fall on a heap and then gather yourself up. That's not true source energy that's flowing through you. Something is blocking you. So when we understand that we are infinite beings and we have the ability to flow infinite power and infinite wisdom through us just by being in the presence of light or the presence of God, the words that are necessary flow through you. The actions that are necessary flow through you. It's an inspired action. It's something that comes from within you. It's not even a thought or a challenge or a contest in your mind anymore. It's just something that you know is the next step to take, and you're willing to take it, even if it is a challenge, even if it does mean having to look at what is happening to our children, even if it does mean having to watch movies, for example, like Earthlings, which tells us what's happening in the slaughterhouses, to gain awareness of what we're putting onto our plates and what we're consuming. It's no different to what the elite are doing to our children.
Absolutely.
It's really no different if we think about that.
I'm so with you on that, and it's really weird. I mean, I've been sort of quite...
And that's all for...
Sorry, carry on. There's a delay. That's why we're sort of talking. Carry on, Chantelle.
No, please carry on. No,
well, I think you've hit on such an important, so many important points in that. I mean, I've been saying for years in terms of what the animals going to the slaughterhouses, because so many of my health friends, people who are in the health industry, they're very passionate, obviously, about, say, grass-raised animals, and that's absolutely fine. And saying they still, unfortunately, in our culture, end up at the same slaughterhouses. And there's no difference to you taking, you know, however good an organic free-range life you've had, it's completely different to an animal being grazing in the wild, not knowing anything about it, and someone who's got a very good shot creeping up on them and they know nothing about it. That's a completely different way of eating an animal or harvesting an animal. And I think there's so many parallels when we look about not even the extreme things when we talk about slaughterhouses, but if you look at how most people who've got what we call as pets, Idris doesn't count himself as a pet, I'm his pet. He's amazing, this cat, honestly. He's from Romania and I've never had an animal like him. He's incredible. He is just, he's so black against the black storm, but wow. He's incredible. But you know, about the decisions we make on them when we force vaccinations on them and chemical wormers and flea treatments and horrible food, and we shut them in, and we have them living in areas which are completely unsuitable. I mean, I love horses, and I'm lucky enough to have 3 ponies myself, all rescue, and everyone around me's got horses. And when you hear the way we talk about our animals, they're like, they're so lucky, they're so spoiled. And yet when you look at it through an animal's eyes, it's a nightmare for them. They're shut in stables, they're in draw reins and spurs, and if they're lucky, they get half an hour round going in a circle around a school. And it's our definition, our ability to tune in and see the world through another's eye, whether it's another human, whether it's an animal, whether it's a plant. I think certainly the people that we've connected with over the last sort of year and a half, they really do that. They're constantly asking questions. What can I do better? What can I do better? And it's not beating yourself up. It's knowing that I look back at decisions I've made in the past, and I made them from what I thought was the best place. And I look back at them now and I'm like, my God, how could I have thought that? But the difference is once I realized, I changed it.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's really the key. You know, it's easy to go back and beat ourselves up for something we did 20 years ago. And it's funny that you should say that now as well, because I've had a few days of kind of going back and I'm going, eek. But I think it's really, you know, it's about what we have to understand as well, that the person we were then was learning different lessons.
Yeah.
And, you know, so we did the best then with the tools and the knowledge we had, even if we did abominably badly in our own opinion. But we're here now, we're wiser, we're older, we have more knowledge, we can do things differently, you know, with the internet, and especially the last year and a half, with so many YouTube channels opening, and there's so much information available to so many people, you know, that if you have that technology available, I mean, I've got my students and clients all over the world. I speak to them on a regular basis, you know, and we just a Zoom call like you and I are doing now away, which is amazing, you know. So I really think that I just lost what I was saying.
Well, I think it's about when we were looking back, when we know more, we do differently. And I think when you keep that inquiring mind, yes, and you're open to the fact that there's a lot you don't know. I mean, I just realized how much I don't know about everything now, which is why I love these new conversations. Exactly. Keeping that inquiring mind and keeping the real will to want to just do better for yourself and for others of whatever species they might be.
Absolutely. And that's what I was saying is exactly, but not, with the tools that we have now, we can move forward in a way that is a lot more constructive. And that's, you know, that's what the age of Aquarius is asking for. You know, if we look at Aquarius, it's the 11th sign of the zodiac, which is the first of the master numbers, which is representing in many ways the 2 legs as well. So it's your own 2 legs, stepping into your power, walking your talk, being in your integrity, being in your truth, doing the things you love, acting on a, you know, it's all about personal freedom. So it's acting from a place of personal freedom, which doesn't mean running around and creating chaos as what we've seen. It really just means it's the knowledge that we have within, that we have the ability to create whatever change we desire because we are fully aligned. That's what freedom is, you know. And when we can have that within ourselves, we then walk collectively together into the new consciousness, or the age of Aquarius, or the golden age. I don't know what people call it, you know, everyone has their little name for it. So, you know, when we move in there, conversations like these are preparing the way. And, you know, which I love, because also you've got amazing guests on your channel. who are doing a lot of awakening, and also I love the conversations that you guys have, and you know, it's all about just being open-minded, and it's information, you know, we're just really putting information out there. So whatever you resonate with, take that, you know, and resonate with that. Leave what doesn't resonate with you. We don't have to shout and scream at each other and tell the other they're wrong because it doesn't resonate with you. That's your story, and that's fine. But let everyone else, and you see, that's what I enjoy, because this is the age of information. Aquarius is all about technology as well, you know. We look what we can do here with all this amazing technology, that we are able to just tune in with each other, and we can either use it for really shitty things, or we can use it for really constructive and amazing conversations such as these, in my opinion, you know. So it's a beautiful time, really it is.
Yeah, I agree. It really is a good time, and you can really see so much shifting at the moment in terms of consciousness. I mean, I've seen a huge shift in the conversations that are taking place, because last year, a lot of the ones certainly I was tuning into and listening were very much about when this happens, when that happens, and unjustness of what we've been going through and everything. And I've almost seen that being left behind now, and people moving on to creating. What do they want to create moving forward, which is really wonderful to see. So what, with the work that you're doing with people and everything, what are you creating?
Well, I have been, you know, I've created my own style of healing over the past 20 years, which I've called Source Alchemy. So it's all based on sacred alchemy. So really just teaching people how energy works, how your energy works, and simple basic tools, you know, in order to move forward, to alchemize and understand and expand and progress and move forward. But what we're really doing right now, and I'm loving, is we started the Sun Kids, which are programs for kids, 16 years ago already in South Africa. Wow. And I wrote a book called My Gaia, Handbook for Tomorrow's Leaders, Healers, and Teachers, which is actually on Amazon.
Oh, wow. Get that. My Gaia.
Yeah, My Gaia, Handbook for Tomorrow's Leaders, Healers, and Teachers. And it's been amazing. So what we did over this past year during lockdown, I knew I wanted to turn that into a working module. So Morna and myself, you know, I do the words and that stuff. He does the creation. So together we have a really good working combo. So we've turned that into a workbook, and with lots of activities. And literally now I have got 1 week away from being finished of my first international Sun Kids Soul School facilitator training. Wow. So we've just taken the first group, yes, of the 12. There's actually another one, she came on later, so 13 people from all over. We've got people from America, the UK, France, Germany, South Africa, Namibia, that have started the training. So basically it's teaching kids. It's not replacing schooling, but it is adding on. So in there, I mean, the workbook is 400 pages, including all the activities and stuff. But it's, you know, it's really teaching kids how to work with their energy. It's teaching them about their cells and DNA. The Sun Kids are protected by the sacred white lions, which according to African mythology are God's favorite creatures, because they sit on each side of God's throne and are God's protectors. So the white lions, you know, we also talk about the mythology there. They actually carry the Christ consciousness energy in animals. So literally it's the Jesus, the Christ consciousness energy through the white lion angels that are the protectors of the Sun Kids. So they do meditations to connect with that and meet their white lion, and then they understand the power that is within them. So it's all about lion-hearted. With great power comes great responsibility. So there's chapters on gardening with the moon, herb gardens, veggie gardens, reflexology, there's a whole section on the chakras and everything, the symbols and the food and the recipe and the crystal and the fragrance, everything that relates to that. So it pretty much gives the kids and the teachers and the parents the tools. Because one thing I realized is with so many kids over the years I was working with, a lot of them were ADD, ADHD. And it just dawned on me the one day in meditation, the reason why that is happening is because so many of our kids today are not nurtured by their mothers.
Mm.
They are farmed out to aftercares, nannies, au pairs, whatever, the neighbor, I'm not sure, whatever people's situation is. And these kids then start developing an underlying anxiety. So that underlying anxiety, of course, manifests into behavioral problems and hyperactive type behavior. Okay, so then they get labeled by the medical industry as being hyperactive or ADHD or ADD, and then they'll be given stuff like Ritalin, for example. So from a very young age, these kids are taught by conditioning to believe that I need a pill to fix me. I am broken. I am problematic. That's the underlying narrative. So when we go on in life, we start seeing that it's exactly these things that create addictions. Mm. So later on, they'll start smoking or drinking or taking weed or watching pornography or whatever. And then it evolves into other stuff, you know. As women, we become very addicted to negative emotions, right?
Yeah.
Wow, men will often carry those addictions physically because men are physical protector beings. The women are more emotional, you know, beings. So we will internalize things more and we'll kind of plot and plan. And this is in the negative polarity, right? There's many different manifestations. I'm just using a generalization here. So, and then, you know, so then at the end of the day, we all have these issues that play themselves out. And when we start recognizing all of this, you know, we can then start changing the behaviors of everything in our lives and in our children's lives as well. So then we just start realizing, and that's why as well, this whole Corona time has been magnificent because it's taught, or it's forced parents to be at home with their kids, homeschooling, with their animals. I've never seen so many happy animals and happy children is what I do now, I have to say. And when we realize the value in our family life, because that creates our foundation. Even, I mean, look, you might be single like myself, I live on my own, but my home life and my family life is solid. That's important to me. You know, I make sure that I take care of myself, you know. And when we feel taken care of in our root chakra or our foundational state, life becomes a very different journey with a much more sweet flavor. Not as stress, running around, crazy. You know, the world was in an absolute crazy state of mayhem before this thing took hold. But it's a good thing on so many levels because we are needing to, and that's where, you know, we're the Sun Kids as well. So a lot of these people we're training right now are, I mean, it's just beautiful. I've got this one lady, she's a remedial teacher for remedial kiddies. And I think there must be about 7 kiddies. So I said to her during the course of this, please just use them as your pilot project. Let's see. Wow, man. And these are kids that have got learning problems, you know, the normal ADD, ADHD stuff we're talking about. They're not challenged mentally in any way, but they just got the anxiety and discipline type problems, you know. So when they start doing the meditations and they start doing the activities, these kids were asking for this now 3 times a day. Twice a day for the meditations wasn't enough. They wanted it 3 times a day.
Wow.
So the whole way, it's just beautiful, you know. So this is what we're doing, you know, and honestly, if any of the viewers out there are interested in joining us on this journey, the recordings are ready now. We're busy putting the recordings out for those. So I won't be doing a live training anymore, but the recordings will be there. And those of you who do take the training, included in that is it's a 16-week program, is 8 individual sessions with me as well. So every second week. So I will always connect with the people that are doing the training programs. So if there's anyone out there, please let me know. We can definitely spreading the word. Just wow, just incredible. And you know, just the activities they're doing with their kids. There's lots of single moms on there, and suddenly doing the stuff with their kids is just changing the whole way that people are responding, and the family unit. It's just beautiful. So I feel very, 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 very lucky and very blessed to have been able to create that along with Mornay and my source. Definitely, I would definitely sit and put it at the feet of God, so to speak, and say, is this good enough? Is this what you want?
That's just so amazing. I had no idea that you were doing all that. So after this, please send me the link to how people can sign up for that. And I'll make sure obviously it's under the video with your other things, because that is just absolutely wonderful. And this is what I mean, when people pour that energy into such constructive things, it's so, so important. I mean, you and I both have a very strong connection with animals, and we both communicate with animals in our own ways of all the time. And that's really fascinating what you were just saying, because in the consistent theme that's been coming up for me recently with my clients is the animals find it really difficult to trust their humans that are responsible for so many of the decisions in their life if the humans don't know how to look after themselves properly.
Exactly.
So it's this beautiful parallel journey that you're getting, that as the humans educate how they can enhance the physical, emotional, spiritual lives of their animals, then they're healing themselves at the same time. So it's such a beautiful process to watch.
What you'd love is that part of this, and you know, this book and this training is really giving the kids the tools for 5D awareness. Wow. So we're not going 5G, we're going 5D. And I also teach animal communication workshops. So included in this is teaching the kids how to communicate with animals. There's a chapter on animal communication. So they, you know, and I've got to tell you, I'm so excited about what we've just done. And I know I probably sound a bit like I'm gushing, but it's been amazing, because what a lot of the students on this workshop didn't realize, that this is such a massive transformational process for them as well. Exactly. You know, when it comes to this, and they all know, those of you watching, I know I'm anal about certain things, especially when it comes to taking the training forward. And if you as the trainer are going to go and work with the kids, you got to be top notch in this game. So you've got to go through you've got to go through every activity. You've got to make sure that when I'm saying transform that energy, any of your energy as the facilitator that's not transformed is going to be transformed. So your little fear mongering is going to fly up in your face, but that's why we have the individual session. So then I talk you through it and I help you see the bigger picture, so that you then can move forward again. And it's absolutely amazing, you know, just to be, and crystals, you know, there's workshop on, and
I've got crystals everywhere. I love my crystals, and so do my animals. Yeah.
Amazing. So very exciting. It's really wonderful times. And also, you know, if anyone is interested in doing those workshops, I've got the recordings of the adults as well for the animal communication. It's an 8-week workshop that I've done before. It's recorded, it's available. So if you guys want to do anything like that, if you want to start, there's lots of stuff that I do. I've got 4 main programs, 5 with the Sun Kids now, and I'm busy creating another one. So it's all about transformation, looking at yourself, self-reflection, expanding, growing, giving you the tools to do whatever it is you need to do in your life. Each person is so individual. It's not one size fits all. Each person has their journey, but when you do things in the core, when you understand that moment of sacred alchemy and what it takes, doesn't matter who you are, where you are, how old you are, when you face yourself in that moment and you face yourself with love, no matter what it is you need to forgive yourself for, or embrace yourself for. And that, you see, when we look at life, it's always, when we have issues with people and situations out there, it's always an issue that's coming from within. And when we can resolve these issues within, our life will be so much different, because then the experiences we attract and create are very different to when you're feeling grumpy and miserable and like a victim, and that life is crap and everyone is against you. The world is a horrible place right now. You know, when we have this narrative in our head, rest assured you're going to attract that. There's not even, and it's not even me speaking hocus pocus. All you have to do is look around you, right?
Absolutely.
There's your evidence.
I just love that so much. I've got a training school as well, and what I've been doing, because I work, I've got to free up some more time because it's what I'm most passionate about, is empowering people. And what I've been starting with, I mean, I do some really detailed stuff, like I've got a diploma in equine iridology, people looking into horses' eyes to read what's going on, and that's just amazing, and my students on that are amazing. But also right at the basic level, mine are based around animals and animal care, because when you get some of these basic foundational things right, the whole vibration and everything else starts to fit into place. So again, you know, just how we self-care for ourselves and our animals, about providing the right nutrients, about providing the right food, about managing our own energy and stress levels, is just so important. So I really am going to have more of an in-depth chat with you about yours and what you've got, because I think they fit perfectly. And I think so many people now have really had a chance to, regardless of their situations, to sit back and think, I don't want to do what I was doing before. I really don't want to. I want to do, there's completely different things I want to do with my life. And I've noticed it. I've got, my children are 19 and 21. And I think a lot of the 19-year-olds, instead of automatically thinking, oh, I've got to go to university, I've got to do this, you know, as if there's no choice in this, because they've been forced into you know, online, getting out of that, it's given them a chance to stop and think, actually, that's not what I want to do. Actually, what I want to do is this. So sometimes that enforced hit the pause button is the best thing that can happen for anyone, isn't it?
Absolutely. I fully agree. Absolutely.
It's so excited. So with yours, we'll put the links below for everyone, because that's going to be absolutely wonderful. And you've got ones for, you've obviously got the ones for people teaching younger children, but also you've got one suitable for adults as well.
Yes, in fact, yeah, I've got the first one is called The Art of Alchemy, and that's a 16-week program. So it's really, you know, I believe, I always use the analogy of us humans being like a table with the 4 legs: spiritual, emotional, mental, physical. Spiritual being fire, emotional being water, mental being air, physical being earth. So we understand that to live a successful life, we work with the elements, we work with nature. And it's not hocus pocus, it's just understanding that nature is God in action.
Absolutely.
So when we look at how nature works and we look at how we work, we're going to see how synonymous it is. So the first leg is the 16-week, which is the spirit, the fire leg. So it's really understanding the energy. What am I created of? What are my opposing issues in my life? Especially family. We go into a lot because family is a big issue for a lot of people. And yet that's where your greatest transformation lies, you know? So we look at these, understanding how the energy works. You know, what is the logos? You know, how does a learner-teacher-teacher-learner work? How do you stop blaming people? How do you stop becoming a victim? How do you turn the greatest shames, humiliations, and guilts into your superpower? How do you transmute that? Because the things that are your greatest guilts and shames and humiliations, that's where your power lies. That's where the key lies. You've just got to unlock that and see the truth of that situation. So we go into these things and we go gently and beautifully, and we show you the beautiful other side of it. So that is the first leg. And the second leg would be what I call keys to integration. And that would now be the water leg, which is the emotions or the body. So that is working with the 7 main chakras, okay, the elements that align. It's beautiful, the Kundalini that connects it all. It's a very powerful workshop. It's probably not like what most people would have experienced before, because I work with the planets in there as well. How does everything link? So how do you project the different chakras together? You know, communication, for example, is not just about words coming out of your mouth. It's about it's vibrating on. And of course, the body part. So this is for the healers. So if you have a liver issue, what chakra does that belong to and what emotions are creating that? And then you got to see, for example, what are you creating in your personal life that is creating your body to react in that way? Because every illness is self-inflicted. And I know people get super sensitive about this. We talk about genetic diseases and stuff. Yes, I understand all of that. You have the power to break that genetic code. You really do. And I've proved that a lot. You know, I've healed myself from breast cancer. I was bitten by a black widow spider. By rights, I should be dead. So I understood the healing power of my body. And I understood how powerful it is, and I understood how my body starts speaking to me. And when my little finger is aching or I cut it or something, I just got to look what finger it is, what that means, and where that is connecting to something in my life and what my body's trying to tell me. And I go, okay, that's where I tripped myself up. Let me just step back a bit, realign, off I go. So when we start, this is 5th dimensional awareness in your body. So, you know, you have around 30 trillion cells in your body, and every single one of those cells is listening. It is listening to your thoughts. It is listening to your input. One of the things, in fact, I had a meeting with the students earlier today, and we do the rice experiment, where you put the rice in the bottle.
Yeah.
You must see one of the experiments today, the I love you and you're a demon.
Yeah.
Right? So what you are saying to yourself has a direct effect on your health. People, I cannot tell you that enough times. It has a direct effect on your immune system. Mm-hmm. It has a direct effect on your well-being. So that would be the next workshop. So it's understanding the body, how it works, the body parts, how to work with that. It's very, very, very cool workshop. Then the next one is conscious communication, which is the animal communication. So it's not just with animals, it's also connecting with nature, connecting with the trees, understanding, seeing the energy around that, basically opening up your third eye. So that's the mind. So that's the third eye. You know, how many people don't come to us and say, can you activate my third eye?
Yes.
I go, no,
yeah,
no. You know, it's a process of opening up the rest of your chakras, and your third eye automatically opens of itself. And if you're going to try and do that prematurely when the rest of your chakras are out of alignment, you're going to find yourself very much out of sync, and you're not going to know how to do what you need to do. So it's opening up the mind. It's perceiving the world differently. It's no longer perceiving yourself as a victim, but it's perceiving yourself as a very empowered being that has come here to challenge the system, that has come here to challenge yourself, your own limiting beliefs, your own limiting desires you have on yourself. And, you know, so how do we see things differently? Because everything in life is through perspective. So whatever perspective you hold is really what you're going to be creating for yourself, isn't it? So if you hold a perspective that life is shit, you're going to get shit, sorry. But if you hold a perspective that life is beautiful, you are going to not, it doesn't mean you don't get bad days or challenges. Of course you do. But you just know how to navigate them differently. You've got the tools now. You're now grown up.
So brilliant. I just can't, yeah, I'm going to definitely find out more about this, because the other thing is it's like, I know I keep hopping back to animals, but there's such brilliant teachers and reflectors of us. So when we look at, if you've got animals that live in a human environment, so if you've got, you know, cats or dogs, or my gorgeous guinea pigs that I loved bits, but they're lucky because they have their own thing, horses and things like this, it's your energies are so interlinked. So quite often, as you said, like the emotional links to diseases, quite often our animals will take those. And so when you look, it's just fantastic when you start looking at that detail. And this is what I found is a completely, you know, when you embark on these journeys, Shanti, you don't realize all the snowballing effects. And I never intended to start a YouTube channel. I mean, I just didn't have a clue, and it was never an intention, but I just had loads of questions that I wanted to ask people. And then what it's done as a side effect is the clients that are coming to me now are the best clients you could possibly work with, because the people that watch the type of things that you and I talk about, they're so open, they're so willing and wanting to change. And I could never have predicted this. I could never have thought, oh, if I start talking about what I'm really passionate about, it will change all these other aspects of my life. But of course you can predict it, because when you start really following your passion, it comes. And I just absolutely adore the people that, you know, we're drawn to work together at the moment, because when I see the results they're getting, because they're at that stage where they're completely open, they understand these sort of connections we're talking about. It's just wonderful, really wonderful.
It really is, you know, it's just, and I'm fine, you know, when I started doing this work 20 years ago, wow, it was like I was going through the Amazon jungle with a knife, a little, you know, normal dinner knife, whatever, and trying to cut through this jungle and trying to explain what I perceive and how to put that across to someone else. And you know, it's been amazing, because it took me 18 years to take something very abstract and turn it into something which is now pretty tangible, which is when I started doing my, you know, then I was like structuring and what belongs where, which has been amazing. And it's similarly how I've done it in the Sun Kids workshops as well, you know, because although it's like the kids version of the adult stuff. Not everything is there, but you'll see. And then obviously when we do the workshops and stuff, I talk a lot about the other stuff as well that's not in the notes or in the book type thing. So they're getting all of that, you know. But it's amazing because the kids are so ready and they just love it. Honestly, when these kids get going on this and when they start realizing how it works, and when the parents start realizing how just connecting, because, you know, part of that is, you know, instead of just sending your kids to bed at night, or, you know, maybe even just reading a story, you know, give them a foot massage, because now you know which part of the feet mean different things. So if your child has got a sore belly, stomach is emotion. You'll learn that, right? So when your child has got a sore belly, you can sit on the bed with him or her, rub that part of the foot that stimulates or massages the belly, and you can say, are you okay? Is everything okay at school? Are you feeling a bit upset about something? You know, and then you connect in that way. So then the child immediately responds to your touch and to your connection. A child, when they feel a parent is connected, you're not going to have a problem in the world with that child. It's when the child feels the parent is disconnected that they've got to now grab and shout and scream and do all sorts of negative things to get their attention. So when you start reconnecting with your children require they become less needy, like a relationship, right?
Yeah.
If you've got a strong relationship where you're trusting each other, you're not going to be checking up on each other and digging in phones and emails and I don't know, whatever someone does when they're not trusting in a relationship, following each other, sending detectives, whatever, you know, be on Jerry Springer.
Yeah, it's like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
You know, we're not going to do that.
Wasted energy, isn't it? It's wasted negative and putting your attention into where you don't want it. Was everything you're teaching is all about this creation moving forward into the age of Aquarius. It's just it's fantastic. Do you know, I honestly had no idea you had all those out there. So I'm so pleased that we got to cover that. I really, really am. It's fun. And I think there'll be so many people that will be interested, because there's so many people thinking, how do I discover this? How do I move myself forward? And it's this beautiful journey that you've just described, that you take people on, that you're working with. That is,
it is amazing. Honestly, it is something that has given me so much joy these past 20 years. And, you know, I'm autodidactic, I'm self-taught. So I didn't go and sit in front of someone's feet or whatever, or go on a course here and there and do it. What I know is given to me from birth. And my purpose was to put it into a structure that people could understand, something very abstract like that. And I like to think I've succeeded quite well, definitely. I'm not saying there's not room for improvement, but I think what we've done has been amazing. And I must say, Morna has been incredible.
That's wonderful. You've got that partnership, isn't it? It's
yeah. I don't know what I would do without that guy.
Yeah.
If my computer doesn't work, I'm on the phone to Morna.
I know, it makes me laugh. I mean, I've got a lovely friend, Angie, that's working with me and helping me out. She's amazing. And it's so hysterical because, you know, we were looking at, you know, look, I've worked in so many big businesses in IT and things, and I've just got to the stage now where it's just so much easier to ask someone younger because they just keep up, and I'm like, oh, I just can't be bothered with this. So when you've got someone that can handle that side, everything's wonderful. And that's what the other thing I think is so beautiful, to see everyone. We're not meant to all be the same. We've all got different passions, we've all got different skill sets, and we each need each other. It's like a football team. There's no point having 11 forwards. You also need goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, and they're all just as important, even if the goal scorers get all the attention. You cannot do it without the team and all the different skills. And I think we're really at a stage now for everyone to find their passion, where they want to be moving forward, and they don't need to worry about what they've done in the past. I mean, Bryce and I were talking yesterday, you know, there's loads of accountants that really want to be healers and all sorts of things. Don't worry about what you've done in the past, just concentrate what you want to do moving forward.
And it's so true what you're saying. You know, so many people have so much fear, especially going into this alternative field. You know, the alternative field is known to be more poverty conscious, you know, like we don't earn money, and in the corporate world, you're earning mega bucks with mega perks and all sorts of things. You know, for me, at the age of 24, I started my own business because I was fired from every job for insubordination. So I realized, okay, my child and I, we were going to starve if I didn't do something. And that's when I actually started my own business, which has been amazing in terms of just being a free person, you know. And I've been working from home for many, many years now. You know, I mean, I lived between Thailand and South Africa for 3.5 years, and people would want to know, how did I do that? Well, my business is remote, and I've done it remotely for at least 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah.
So everything that others are starting to do now, I was already doing then. So as long as I had internet, I mean, I'd be sitting on the beach in Thailand chatting to my clients.
Yeah.
You know, so it would be that sort of thing, and working, make no mistake, but I just have a lot of fun. I choose to have fun while I work. I choose to be creative. I choose to enjoy what we're doing. I definitely don't choose to sit in a cubicle and inhale someone else's pathogens. No. That's no.
It's so, and this is why I think, you know, you mentioned about technology can be used for good or bad. I mean, I'm so lucky because, again, when I can have some of my most inspirational calls with clients when I'm out walking the dogs or the horses, because when I'm in that space with the animals, I'm just completely open to everything that's coming in. So we're so lucky. Everyone always says you're so lucky. We know we create our own luck, but we're lucky that we've got that type of, you know, personality to do it, and connecting with people. And I would just encourage everyone else to, you know, if there's something deep down there that you wish you've always done, just start it. Don't worry about the how, just take that first step and you'll be amazed what starts to happen.
I want to just say that it's that initial step. You know, and this is where the saying comes in, God helps those who help themselves. So, you know, even if it starts by designing a business card, you can sit on your computer and design your own little business card. Even if you start by writing a very basic little business plan or marketing plan, start with a dream.
Yeah.
You know, what would the thing, you know, focus on your heart. If you think about something and your heart opens, even your belly might be terrified, but your heart feels open, that's a good sign. You know, because what happens is really, we have definitely been, we've had this narrative pushed down on us that there's a scarcity and there's not enough. Well, I will completely disagree with that, because God is infinite, energy is infinite, resources are infinite, you are infinite. So all you have to do is get yourself into the possibility that what I'm saying could be true. I'm not saying you've got to jump and say, yeah, I'm jumping in whatever she's saying now. I don't for 1 second expect you to believe that. But if one or two of what our words here are saying today is touching you in a way that triggers you to get excited, to go, flipping, yeah, it's time I'm doing this, then that is your invitation from God or your higher self to make that move. Even if you are so scared, because the minute you make the move, it's like getting the cog or the wheel moving after it's been rusted for a very long time. You're now oiling it, and now you're starting to move it forward. And before you know it, you're on a path, and then you meet someone who wants the product or the service you're offering. And suddenly you've got your first client potentially, and you can say, well, I'm busy starting my business. Maybe I can help you out. Would you be my guinea pig client? I'll charge you 60% of my normal fee, or whatever the case might be, if you can afford it, that is. You know, I'd like to have a trial run. Something like that. You know, God gives us opportunities there, and the opportunities come. But most of us are so scared. We don't want to take that first step because we don't know what's on the other side. And because we don't know what's on the other side, we don't take that step. So then we stay limited. But if you took the risk and said, you know what, I'm going to go check that out and open that door, wow, I will guarantee at least 5 other doors are waiting to be opened. And then you meet the right people who have the right skill set, or can assist you, or you can collaborate on something, or you can just talk and bounce ideas off, or you're standing in the queue at the ATM and someone's having a conversation about something that directly affects your thought process around what you need to know, or something like that. You know, things start happening. It's like the synchronicity. Everything just starts falling into place. And we've got to trust that.
Yeah.
We've got to trust that God and our source, our higher being, has your back. Only your back, and adores you and only you, and has eyes for you and only you, and wants you and only you to succeed. And we all have that. And when we recognize that in ourselves, we recognize it in another. So when we are like too enlightened, that's what enlightened means. We really know, we understand these things. The veils have been lifted. That we are two enlightened beings now doing business together. We don't have to think about lying and cheating and scamming, because we both understand that's low vibration stuff. That's bad karma. I wouldn't want to cheat anyone anyway. If I need extra money, I'll rather ask. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then I'll get it. It's done with the intention. And I think, you know, so many of us just need to be taking that little step in the right direction.
It's so exciting. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been really, really interesting. I really hope we can do that again. We will be doing some more round tables, everyone watching as well, having some more fascinating, because there's so much we can all talk about. But thank you so much, Shanti. That's absolutely brilliant. And I will make sure all Shanti's links are in the description box. Everyone who says I can't find the links, when you're watching on YouTube, it's a little, it says more below, a little description box below, and if you click on the view more, all the links come up. Thank you so much, and let's connect soon.
Catherine, it's been so wonderful chatting to you, and thank you to all of your viewers as well for watching. I really appreciate the time we've had, and I'll definitely be having you on my channel soon.
Fantastic. Bye.